Hi, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. I have Stephanie and Michael here. Stephanie and Michael recently participated in a Mintbean GraphQL hackathon, and they were one of the groups that won. Congratulations, Michael and Stephanie.
Thank you.
So we're today we're going to just kind of chat and learn a little bit more about them and have them show us the project that they worked on and how they built it, and things like that. So yeah, let's start with some introductions. So we'll kind of go to my window to the right and around, I guess. So we'll start with Michael.
Yeah, I'm a software engineer. Been doing it probably about 6 years, and I do web technologies. I started with the LAMP stack PHP, and that was back in like 2009. So I don't do that anymore. I've learned the MERN stack, or the MERN with the G stack, Mongo, Express,
Okay.
React, GraphQL, and Node.
Oh, okay. I didn't know. I hadn't heard of the MERN with a G stack. Okay. Cool. So is that the stack you use at work right now?
Yeah, actually, I'm not working. I've done a little bit here and there. I was interviewing quite a bit. I've done dozens of interviews, but it just hasn't stuck. So I'm looking to get hired.
Oh, okay. Awesome. Well, hopefully, maybe we can help you out a little bit. And where are you based out of, by the way?
I'm the San Francisco Bay Area.
San Francisco.
Specifically, yeah.
Awesome. Okay. Cool. And Stephanie, what about you?
Hi. So I've been working as a web developer for about a little over 3 years now. Currently working specifically in web production, but I started off with React, and then I actually transitioned a little bit to PHP just for e-commerce, Magento, and then now I work on Salesforce. And also a little bit of React again, so that's great. And yeah, so I just started a new job not too long ago, which was great. And yeah, that's just like pretty much what I've done. But I didn't start off doing web development. I kind of came in a little bit later after I graduated college, so it's been a great experience though.
That's cool. So what did you study in college then?
I studied corporate communication, so it's more of like how to speak to like other people in the company and also externally. A lot more about like management and like making decks and how to convey information properly. So
right. But what made you kind of switch? What made you decide you wanted to be a developer instead of doing corporate communications?
I worked at a gaming company for for about a year, and because it was like more of like a startup environment, a lot of people who worked there were developers, and I thought what they're doing was really cool. So I just was like, oh, I wanted to try it out, especially after I left the company. So.
That's cool. And Cybertroner says you need to update your wall calendar.
Oh yeah. Oh wait. Yeah, I haven't
does.
touched this in like forever. So.
Yeah, since 2014, it's been a while.
It's literally like I put it up when I was in like college, so and I just never touched it.
And Michael, did you go to school to be a developer, or did you kind of decide to be a developer after, or did you go to like a boot camp or something like that?
No, I went to UC San Diego, studied physics,
Okay.
and I wasn't gonna go get like PhD, so working in a lab wouldn't make that much money, like 40, 50K, which is not good enough for any metropolitan area. So I came up here, got a job working with PHP, kind of learned on the job. I've always had a huge interest in programming, being like 8 years old and typing in basic, like literally basic language games, like text-based checkers and stuff like that. So I picked it up.
Very cool. Yeah, I mean, so none of us in this group studied computer science, I guess, because I didn't either. I was a history major, so I had to I had to do something else because history doesn't really get you much of a job. So I taught myself more or less, but that was long time ago, well before either of you. So, okay, so tell us, I guess, next a little bit about your project. I guess, Michael, you had shared your screen here. I'm going to add the screen here, but if you want to go ahead and open up the project in the browser, maybe, or
yeah, I was sharing the window, so does that
okay. I can remove that, and we can do it over again, or maybe Stephanie wants to share.
Yes, Stephanie, if you don't mind sharing, you did all the UI work.
Let me see. I think I have it open. I could try.
Okay. By the way, Stephanie, I always looked at both your LinkedIn's because it was in the information that was sent, and I'm like, my wife would be super jealous of where you're working.
Thank you.
Yeah,
it was just very recent, so I'm really happy I got the opportunity. So
yeah, she has some of their purses.
Which place was that?
I currently work at Kate Spade.
Kate Spade, yeah.
Just it's only been like a month, so but they've been great. So
that's great. Well, congrats on that.
Thank you. Okay, let me try to see if I can share. Okay. So let me know if you can see it.
Yep, we can see it. So if you want to open the browser and show us like the app working, yeah, that's what we. Unless you shared just your window.
Oh yeah, I only shared this. Let me.
Yeah.
Sorry.
That's okay. That's okay. You know, people watch Twitch streams expect a really, really high production value, I'm sure.
I'm very new to this, so.
Yeah, me too, to be honest.
All right, let's see. Okay, I think this is it. Can you see that?
Yeah, there we go. There we go. And by the way, I love that animation. Is that video that you have running behind the text?
So it's I was trying to find a high-res GIF, but I couldn't find one that looked good to me. But it is a GIF of like the actual Earth in a very. I just thought it was the prettiest one. So
it was great. I thought.
Yeah,
it looks really cool, and yeah, that I like the effect. It looks very cool.
Thank you so much. So essentially, this is more of like a placeholder of everything. So I think when we do work on more on this, stuff might change, but it's just a placeholder for now. So essentially a whole idea of Earthshare, that's how I say it, but when we're thinking of like the name for the project, we didn't really think about how to say it. We were more like how do we just find like a name that would work. So we kind of just put like Earth and nature together. And that's how we like came up with the name.
I'm so bad at naming stuff like that.
Yeah, don't worry. This is like a known issue in what do they say? Like in computer science, it's one of those things. Like naming things is one of the hardest things in computer science.
Yeah, like we spent like a good minute just like talking about what to name it. So, so yeah, something is like a placeholder landing page. So, essentially, how I built out a good amount of like the front end portion was that I used styled components and then made my own components for this particular project. So kind of here itself is one component that I made. So if we were to let's say want to reuse this kind of formatting or styling, like we could just use that component, change like the text, change what the background is and everything, the sizing. So that's great for, if you ever want to use in any other pages that we add in the future or anything. And yeah, and then like here's just more placeholder. Everything, most of the time I like to use CSS Grid, but also use Flex from time to time just because that they're more, like you can use them throughout different browsers. Majority of the modern browsers have the compatibility with them. And I think it's still a bit iffy maybe on IE, but hoping people start to phase that out.
No one uses IE, I hope.
Yeah, just hoping.
Yeah, well, didn't Microsoft say they were going to end IE? There was some announcement recently that no more Internet Explorer after next year, is it?
So in
I
the
can't remember.
21st century.
Yep.
Oh,
So
wow,
it's going to be gone.
That's
Yeah,
perfect.
each year it kind of sounds like a food company, but maybe that's true.
Yeah. I will admit, when I saw the name, I thought it was something to do with food because there was another project that was food related, like recipes or something. So yeah, I got them confused. But
yeah, I think.
But it's okay. It's okay.
Yeah.
It's just a hackathon project, right? You don't have to naming it. It's not
You
that
want
important.
you want to go into the app
Yeah.
and show them that?
Sure.
Mhm.
So, just to go over, we decided to use Mapbox and Leaflet just because Google's Map API at the time, well, now is a paid service, so you actually have to pay them to use their API. So this is a free service that you can use. Essentially, I believe how it works is that Leaflet itself is a library that you can use, and you can connect it to Mapbox using like an access token, just by signing up and making your own account and then requesting it. So that's great. And working with Mapbox has been amazing just because they offer so many types of maps, and also it's very detailed. So as you move in, you can see it a whole lot of detail, which is amazing. And then on the side, so this right now, like this is what we mainly use right now. And so if we change the date, right, then we will see all these points pop up. And yeah, so in different places, you can then see all information. And source is mainly like where that information came from, like articles and things like that. So you can kind of like move around and see. So the majority of what's been happening, or tracked by NASA, I guess, has been in in the U.S. and Canada between May 4th and May 21st. So.
And so all of these things are like, to explain to people that they're natural events like fires or floods or things like that.
Oh yeah,
And
yeah. NASA has an API, EONet, Earth events. I forget what the acronym is, but you can go to Google like NASA APIs, and you'll see it there. Earth events. I mean, natural events. EONet.
Okay, cool. And so all the data is coming from that single NASA API at this point?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And the maps are really cool. So the maps you're using, everything was free, you said.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Which is great.
Yeah, that is great.
Mm-hmm.
So it's Mapbox, and it looks like Open Weather Map or something, right?
Leaflet.
Leaflet? Okay.
Yeah, and then there's also a React version, which is what we're currently using right now.
Okay.
Yeah, just because we're basing it off React.
Awesome.
Yeah. And then I think Michael could talk more about the data side of everything.
Okay, cool. I will swap to Michael's screen, and he's got the code up. All right, Michael, show us how this was built.
Okay. So Steph did create React app. Let's see, the app entry point. There's all the routes. I was working on making the URL have the start and end events. We didn't get that far, but we're using Apollo client to talk to the server. Maybe I should start with steps in, actually.
Sure.
So at first I started with just the basic examples, and it was working, but I couldn't get to these sub data sets. They're kind of like if you're familiar with the relational databases, it felt like a join basically.
Because the API from NASA is a REST API that just returns JSON, and you're using StepZen to convert that to a GraphQL API. It's effectively.
Oh yeah. StepZen works by you tell it what the data structure is from various APIs, and StepZen tries to grab all that data and provide a GraphQL interface for the front end.
Right, and so all these, we're using all this materializer here. That, just for people who don't know, that's a StepZen specific like directive, and you're using it here because the data was coming back from the API in like nested structures in like basically a complex object, nested object of result sets.
Yeah.
Right?
Let me start from the beginning. We switched to interfaces so that this is more of an interface that then you go to the materialize actual query, and down here are the actual queries where you tell it to, oh, I want the NASA events, so I pass it the parameters I want. It supplies events. That's how it knows to connect it to this one. This is the concrete declaration of the interface. And then this is where you tell it, okay, go to Earth Observatory API and grab the events there. And then at first, StepZen, I was putting this materializer stuff into down here, and actually that was crashing the server. So I hopped on with Anonce and brought in this product guy and solved it. Basically, we just needed to move the materializers up into the interface, not into the concrete.
Right.
Interface.
Well, just as a side note, you don't actually have to do that anymore. You can put the materializer in concrete types now. So
okay,
I think because it'll save you a lot of like little extra bits of code because you don't need to have the interface and then the concrete type anymore. Just have
that's
the type.
new. So this is how you get multiple data sources. This is the concrete front-facing query that you run. Just run events, grab events, or get events, or whatever it is, and then I write the concrete APIs where it goes to NASA, and then I was playing around with predict HQs, and there's another API that doesn't have a whole lot of stuff. It has a whole lot of stuff, but the free account doesn't. So this is how I was able to demonstrate using the whole goal of StepZen to pull in multiple APIs. Okay.
So in this one, the predict HQ is not one that you're actually using in the app itself. This was just something you were testing.
I forget. I might have done this after I deployed the app to production, but I was just trying to make sure that it worked. It's kind of flaky, like a query StepZen's in the iGraphQL, and sometimes I'll get like HTTP errors or Yeah, it would be a GraphQL error. So I ended up not using the second API. And actually, at first, it was kind of tricky to get. Well, actually, I'll come to that. So that's the data model and all that. And all of this is on GitHub, so you can go ahead and browse it and see how it works and stuff. So on the front end,
Awesome.
we're using Apollo provider, and that's just a little snippet that, okay, grab these environment variables, create the client, give it the authorization to talk to StepZone, and boilerplate stuff here. So React is actually, Apollo provider actually wraps the entire app, and then within app, we put our switches, our not switch, our routes. And okay, so the map component, which Steph did, is right here. This is the style components, like she mentioned. And you could speak better to this, but Steph. But basically, we're using React hooks. Use the query. And this is the. I don't know why. This is where you're. Yeah, GQL is for the so you can write this inline. And get there's a VS Code extension that highlights it like this. So anyway, that's what pulls in the data, and so that yeah, she built the main page and the sidebar and the container. And here's where it actually draws the leaflet map component. And so it's here. It grabs the environment variables, draws the map container, and then iterates through the events and sticks in stuff like Latin long and the date and location. And, yeah.
Okay.
At first, we kind of had to just grab the events via the REST API because I was having issues with StepZone, like I said earlier. But we finally got that working. Anant sent me the interface template. That's about it. I created a little diagnostic page so that I could just see individual events by NASA's ID. But that's just test code. And I think that's it.
Cool. So, I mean, so tell me, Stephanie, a little bit, if you don't mind, a little bit more about how you integrated the maps there. I mean, was there anything particularly difficult about pulling in and plotting out all those points on the map, or was it pretty straightforward?
I think because luckily we had like a version of Leaflet for React, so simply it was just more about like npm installing it and then using their library to push everything out. So like Michael had said, I took like their map container, and then within it you can like set a central coordinate. So I hadn't changed it, so like if you were able to like go onto the site and like get on the map, it does, I think, fall in London. But I think probably in like moving forward, probably gonna set that to something that makes more sense. But after that, it's pretty much there's like tile layers, and then what we mainly use to show like the little markers is like a marker component that they have, and just making sure that like for each item that we're like mapping through to get the right coordinates for them. I know for a little bit, like just because like I wasn't able to tell like exactly which one was like the latitude and longitude. At first last time I was like, oh, I don't think it's like working. But then he was like, oh, I think there's something where like you just switch them over, because I thought one was the other. So I just ended
Yeah,
up.
that was kind of because StepZen was, well, NASA was providing an object of several dates with their
Yeah.
Latin long, because like a hurricane moves over time. So it was coming in structured weird.
Oh, okay, so it sent you back like not just a single latitude longitude, it sent you back a whole bunch for because some of these things move. Okay, that's interesting. Okay, so
So
you decided to convert, like basically put it as each one in a kind of a single location.
This was just a hack, so I think we choose the first one.
yeah, exactly. So because we were still like, on a time limit, I'm sure like if we had much more time to, we would kind of implement something where like you could possibly see the point moving, or just like having multiple markers for the same event. But currently we just chose the first one. And yeah, but it's like for example, like for events like storms, and yeah, just basically anything that moves.
Yeah, that I mean, I'm sorry for the noise here. Of course, the day I'm getting online, there's construction going on. So yeah, so yeah, that would be cool. I think the one of the other winners, he had actually a whole path on the map. So I think that would, as a kind of something you, if you ever decided to move this forward, you could have like it shows it for things that move, like, oh, here's the storm, and it shows the path of the storm rather than just like multiple points. It's like a line path.
Pretty easy.
Yeah, I think that would be like a really cool thing to implement for sure. And then I know one of the other things that we thought about, which I was discussing with Michael before we started the project, was like having maybe like pulling more data to show like imagery that's like before and after the disaster if we can. So what happens like on Earth, and then see if like anything changed with the geography. So I thought that would be a really cool thing. A lot of it's just more like because we had like a time crunch, so we wanted to get the more important or priority functions done first, and then
Right. And so, like, for people who obviously weren't participating, you had a little less than a week from the moment you started everything, and you had to learn, obviously, you had to learn how to use StepZen, and you had to, it sounds like you both have experience with React already, right? Like, so you that wasn't a big deal with either of you?
nope.
Yeah, it was good. Yeah.
Okay. So at least you weren't like having to learn React too. But still, a week is not a lot to kind of come up with this and build it and everything. So yeah, it's really impressive what you all built here. So
It's like funny because then we also say that like technically I think we spent maybe like 4 days just because we initially had a different idea. And then we just realized like, oh, I think we need to change our idea. So we spent maybe like 2 days or so on that previous idea, and then ended up changing it to the one that we have now. So another day took us like figuring out which one to change it to.
Yeah, we were working on that project, Navi, from like Friday to Monday, and then we were like, wait, we'd have to create our own database and API and use our. So we wanted to use a one, so we spent Monday and Tuesday just messing around with StepZen, figure out how to use it, and then Steph cranked out the UI on Wednesday, Thursday.
Yeah, I just tried to like draw everything, and then I also made a few mock-ups to see if Michael was like okay with it, and then I just went for it. So
Your mock-ups are always good.
yeah, so she basically put most of it together in like 2 days, basically. Wow,
yeah.
that's. It, I mean, I thought it came out great. The maps worked really well. everything was really neat. I thought it was really well done. So nice work.
Thanks. I could toss in, move back and show how StepZen process the API if you'd like.
Yeah, that'd be cool. Yes, show me.
Okay. So I can't share Chrome, so I'll do like this. So you can base everything. So this is what NASA returns. I hit, I think this is just the general. You hit this URL, you can probably do that. This version 3 of the API event. And it gives you a huge array of this JSON structure. And this has all the metadata about that. And so sources would be like, you go here and it has an article about what happened. It's a category of wildfires. It could be like natural disaster, wildfire, stuff like that. So that's why it's an array. And then what we were talking about with the Latin long coming in weird, it was just because, hold on, let me find the one with several. Maybe I can't. But what it was is geometry is another array. So it'd come back something like this, and then the coordinate would be slightly changed, and the date would be like 12 hours later. So yeah.
That's cool. And so had you all, obviously you hadn't used StepZen before, but had you all used GraphQL before?
Yeah.
You had?
I think I'm more new to it. So it was a fun experience to kind of like work with it and like see also like how Michael like put everything together in terms of that. And me and Michael had like worked on a different project before, so I definitely got to be able to like learn GraphQL a little bit more and like see how everything functions. And so it was a great experience.
And that's why people love GraphQL so much. It's just a query. This is what I want. This is what I want. So like it's made for front end developers.
Yeah, exactly. Like so, your dump of the data there was a perfect example to me of like why. I mean, REST is easy to interact with, but it's also like, I mean, you get that giant object back of like,
Yeah.
and
people don't care about when it was created or updated or which API version it's using, that stuff.
Exactly. I mean, somebody must care about it, but like you don't, but you get it anyway. Yeah. So yeah, exactly. So there's a like kind of disconnect between what the server side people need to put in there and what the front end people actually want to consume. I always find like when I'm using REST APIs, I'm sitting there with the API docs open all the time, just kind of going through them, trying to figure out what the heck is I'm getting. And endless console logging the results that come back. So GraphQL, it's like, okay, you get back exactly what you put in there. Awesome. Sorry, go ahead.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, and like you guys are completely right, because I am more of a front end developer, so being able to see like exactly the naming of like the data and like how to pull it is like great. So I don't have to like constantly go back and like try to like run the server and then like or anything like that to see what the naming convention is. Instead it's just right there. So
yeah, I took care of all that stuff. You can design it and make it look real pretty and all that, and then I'll take care of all the plumbing, make sure that it pulls the data and sends you the data, and set up the server database if we need one. We didn't need one for this one though.
Yeah, no, that was great.
Yeah, well, I mean, it did look great and it worked great, and and to be honest, I have a much easier time with like writing GraphQL queries than I would ever writing CSS. So like my CSS is a disaster. I know enough to be dangerous to make a really, really ugly site.
Flexbox is just like, what?
Yeah, I don't even really know. Like, if you don't give me like a template to work off of, I can't do anything. So, well, this is awesome. So, hopefully, if you all get to work, maybe, and I'd love to see this like out there and improved. It'd be really cool if you're interested in doing that, because seeing a little more like some of that movement stuff, or maybe it's like, can you search the API like by categories of stuff and things? Like, would it be?
Yeah. That's what was going on here. We send it how many we want, and the other one would take not there, but yeah, disasters. This one was the Predict HQ had greater than or equal to start date and end date, disasters category. Yeah, like if the API supports it, if the REST API supports it, you can go nuts. Yeah.
Yeah. So Cyberturner says improvement idea clustering. I think this is actually related to the mapping, I believe. He's saying like clustering markers and stuff like that. So yeah, very, very cool.
A search feature or a drop down with listing them all, and you can select versions of it. Yeah, we can do all kinds of stuff if we wanted to.
Yeah, that's cool. Well, this is awesome. So obviously, when I think I'll stop sharing the screen just to kind of wrap up. So, was this the first? Have you all participated in the hackathon before, or was your first hackathon? Or
No, I've done tons over the years.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like I've also done a few, but not as many as my goals, for sure.
That's cool. It would multiples through Mintbean, or
Oh yeah, like Angel Hack. There'd be like Microsoft bought that chat program, Yammer or something, and so they'd have a hackathon where they want people to come in and create stuff for them, and they'll give you a prize, stuff like that.
I think for me, like I started off at Mintbean, and just because I liked it, it was more calm. And then I worked with Michael on a hackathon for Developer Week, which was definitely more intensive, but it was also a really cool experience as well. And then so I just suggested to Michael, I was like, oh yeah, you want to try like a Mintbean one? Just because it would be like a very different feeling from doing the Developer Week one. And so here we are.
Yeah, it was intense because like we did a lot. We launched localallieshelp.org or localallies.org. We had a designer in Figma, built stuff out. Stephanie, someone was a designer too, so you coded all the UI and then.
Wow. So what's the URL?
Localallies.org.
Local Allies.
Yeah.
Integrated.
.org. I'm gonna check this out. All right. So this is one you built for the Developer Week hackathon.
Yeah. I had a friend who wanted to set up a donation service for restaurants hit hard by the pandemic, and so so we built this. It had a few pages. We integrated a donation service where I think, but this was like 7 days or something.
Oh yeah, this looks really cool. By the way, does it? So you can donate to help local small businesses. All right, that's awesome. I posted the link in the chat if anybody wants to check out. So you all are like you're just here like going hackathon to hackathon, building cool stuff, huh?
I think it's fun.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
You learn. It's an opportunity to learn new tech and
Yeah.
practice the tech you already know.
Yeah, that's great. So I guess to wrap up, I know, first of all, Stephanie, you have a new job. Congratulations. That's awesome. Michael, you're looking for a job as front end developer, back end developer. What do you are you
Full
looking for?
stack.
Full stack, both. Okay. Yeah. Full stack is one of those terms I'm like, I put quotes around full stack because it's like, I always feel like full stack. Oh, you want the companies want full stack. We want two people's jobs, one person fill it.
Yeah, they want you to do literally everything. I get bored if I do the same thing every day, so I like jumping around.
Yeah, no, I know it's cool. I mean, I think I know both some back end and some front end, but it's always hard because it's like, I think when you get into these jobs, you end up focusing on one or the other.
They silo you.
Yeah, but okay. So, do you mind if I share your LinkedIn profile here in case people are looking for you? Yeah. So, hold on. I had it in this other window.
I don't have a whole lot on there, but
right.
CD has more.
But I'm figuring like if people actually do want to hire you and are looking, I can post it here so they can find you. All right. Well, that's all my questions today. I really appreciate you taking the time. First of all, thank you for taking the time and participating in the hackathon. It sounds like you had fun and learned a lot. I know, like for us at Stepson, by the way, like it helped us a lot to see some of those struggles that you ran into, even though I know it was probably like frustrating at the time, but like it helped us understand like how we need to change things. So like I noted, you don't have to do the interfaces anymore because it was kind of confusing and things like that. So, but yeah, thank you for participating in the hackathon and thank you for taking time out of your day today to come chat with me and show us what you built. It was really, really cool. And it was great to meet you both.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Thank you, Brian.
All right. Bye, Michael. Bye, Stephanie.
See ya.
Bye.
Bye.